This guy thinks that I, a successful parent that knows how to raise my kids, will take advice from this bum. You heard that right.
I told you to buy the figure. Why don't you listen to me? Like,
Yo, the entitlement. He's like, you dumb fucks, I told you to buy it. I want to talk about DSP today. A few days ago, I believe it was last week, I watched a 3-hour video on DSP from a channel called the Wolverine doll. And I thought I was very familiar with DSP, but I watched this video and basically it's the DSP iceberg. So it talks about at the top of the layer, there's stuff that people know about, like when he jerked off on stream, or, you know, the begging, the vet streak. And as it got lower and lower into the iceberg, there's more obscure theories and just some really weird lore. And I thought I knew a lot of shit about DSP because I've been watching Duty for quite some time. I watch Duty almost daily, a lot of the clips. And there was a lot of shit that I didn't know about. Now, one thing that I did know about, but I've never seen the entire clip, is the Wolverine toy story. Now, if you know DSP, he's an extremely entitled little shit. And the Wolverine toy story is kind of like an origin story on how he became so entitled and just such a piece of crap, if you will. His parents tried to teach him a very important lesson, and he took the wrong one. It's like he absorbed the information, but he twisted it into something else. And today, I want to see the entire clip of the Wolverine toy story, unedited, because I've never seen the whole thing. I've seen part of it, but I want to see the entire clip so we can digest and fully understand the origin story of this piece of crap. So let's get started.
I told you to buy the figure. Why don't you listen to me? Okay. The next question is from Taco Manx, or Taco Man X, I'm not sure. And he says, is there something as a kid that you desperately wanted but you never got? Like a toy or a video game? So
keep in mind, at this point, he's like 40 years old, or like maybe 35 years old, something like that. Maybe he's like my age. He looks a lot younger. If someone asks you, is there a toy that you wanted as a kid, you'd be like, the fuck kind of question is that? I'm a grown-ass adult. I have a wife. I have bills. I don't need to think about little toys that kids, play with. That's ridiculous. But not DSP, because there is a story that's stuck in his mind for his entire life.
This is a funny story. This is a very funny story, okay? When I was a kid, there was this one year, and let me, please, all of you on the stream, if you are a parent, if you plan to be a parent someday, please heed my advice, because this is something that, just heed my advice. So you listen to this story, this will help you, okay?
So, listen, I'm about to take parenting advice from the guy who has no kids and is a complete fuck up that begs on a live stream every single day. You heard that right. This guy thinks that I, a successful parent that knows how to raise my kids, will take advice from this bum. You heard that right. He hasn't even started and it's already mind-blowing. But let's hear you out, DSP. Let's see what you got.
When I was a child, I was very different than the other children. My mom could take me to the local store, and what she would do is she would go to the toy department first before we looked at anything else in the store. She would say, okay, Philip, because she used to call me Philip. She would say, okay, Philip, pick any toy, and I would look around. Ooh, I like that one. And she'd hand it to me, and I would look at it, and the whole time we were in the store, I would just look at the toy, oh, it's nice, it's an awesome toy. I would read all the packaging. Of course, I couldn't, very limited reading that I had back then, but I would read as much as I could. Look at colorful packaging. I remember back then the biggest thing was He-Man figures. So it was always He-Man. I would look at the figure. So it'd be hours my mom would be in the store shopping for different stuff or whatever. And then finally at the end of the day, we would go back to the toy department and I would put the toy back. And I wouldn't bitch and moan. I wouldn't demand that my mom buy it for me. I knew that that was just a normal day. She was there to go get groceries or whatever it was we were there for, and that when it was either my birthday or a holiday, that's when I would get my toy. And that's how I was as a kid. And a lot of you might be saying, what the fuck? And yeah, I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was my raising or if it's just the way I was. I was very content to see stuff for a limited amount of time, put it back, and then know that if I want that permanently, I can get it on a holiday. I don't know. That's just how I was as a kid.
I just find it mind-blowing that he remembers all this shit. Like this had such a deep impact on his life that he remembered this story. Like he thinks about it on a daily basis. But let's get to it, Phil. What happened to your little toy? Grown man bitching about a toy. You can't even make this shit up.
Okay, so I remember this one time. Now this was much later than that. That was when I was a small child. When I was much older. So we're talking. I was still pre-teens, but I was around that age. You know, the 10 to 12, whatever range, and. I was heavily, this was the time of my life, I was heavily into comic book collecting. I would read every X-Men, so there were like 4 different X-Men books. I would read every X-Men book. I would read every single, so certain Spider-Man and stuff. I was into it. I was into the Marvel comics at the time. And I remember this one time, I was into, again, I still liked action figures. I was into the X-Men action figures at this time. And at this time I had an allowance, so I would save up my money, and I would spend it every once in a while to buy these X-Men action figures. So this one day, here's the thing, and a lot of people might not even realize this too. This was nuts. I got to go into detail a little bit about this. This was absolutely nuts. So...
It's crazy. It's like, no, dude, you don't need to go into detail. This is just a pathetic little rant from a grown man that's in his mid-30s that should be talking about, entertaining his audience, not this crap. You should be worrying about bettering your content, not whatever the fuck this is, this entitled rant. But we're about halfway through. Let's see.
Toys are for kids, right? What happened back then is that because the comic book fad was so big, other things that were offshoots of comic books also became collectible and highly valued. So, for example, the X-Men figures. When they came to a store, the box would have like a lot of a certain figures and very little of others. And one of the ones that was the variant that was rare was Wolverine, which was nuts. Why would you make Wolverine the variant that only has a few per box of shipment? Because Wolverine is one of the most popular characters in the X-Men universe. So the Wolverine figure was very rare at the time, okay? And I remember I went to a comic book store one day with my parents, and the Wolverine figure was there, and it was expensive. It was like maybe, I think, $20-25, when really the other figures only cost like $7-8, so this one was worth 3 to 4 times more than a normal figure because of its rarity. And I turned to my mother and father, and I said, guys, listen.
He sat them down. I can imagine this little shitbag, yay high, saying, Mommy and Daddy, sit down. I need to talk to you. I really need this Wolverine toy. Oh my God, man. Grow up, dude.
I want that action figure for my birthday. So, please, what I would ask you, I've never asked you to do this before. We know how rare that figure is. We know we've been to stores endlessly and we've never seen it in the flesh. It's finally here in front of our faces. Please buy the figure now. Hide it from me for months until my birthday, and give it to me on my birthday. This will ensure that I will get this action figure because we know how rare it is. And it's the first time we've seen it. And I begged with my parents, and I pleaded with my parents to get it, right?
He begged. He begged. It's like his begging was ingrained. He did it even as a child. He has been begging for decades. Multiple decades of begging.
So the way it worked is that maybe once a week we would go to the comic book store.
He's crying.
So like 1 week, 2 weeks, 3.
His eyes are watery as he's reliving this traumatic event from not getting his toy. What the fuck, dude? Get alive.
3 weeks in a row, they still didn't buy it, right? Week 4, we go back. It's gone. We asked the store owner what happened. Someone bought it. And I have not, we haven't gotten any more.
Oh no!
Other, it's so popular. We've gone to toy stores. No one can find this action figure anymore. It's that rare because it was the most popular character at the time, Wolverine. He was the rarest figure because he was the variant figure in the box figures that would be shipped to toy stores. So my birthday came and passed, and guess what? My parents go, "We're very sorry, Philip, but we couldn't find the action figure." I said, "I told you to buy the figure. Why don't you listen to me?" Like,
Yo, the entitlement. He's like, you dumb fucks. I told you to buy it. Why are you not listening to me? Oh my God. Dude. And it's like, okay, maybe when he was a child, he told them that, and he was like, oh, that figurine, it hurt me so much. I don't have it for my birthday. That's one thing. But as an adult, to tell this story as an adult is an entirely different thing. Like, this is really fucking pathetic, Phil. The fact that this story stayed with you for all these years and you still think about it, it is nuts. Like, that is mind-blowing. And I'll get to what I meant at the beginning when I said they tried to teach him something, but he took the wrong info out of this life lesson, because this was a life lesson. Don't get me wrong. It's just that he didn't absorb it.
it was such a no-brainer. All they had to do was buy it then. They could have hidden it forever. I would have never bugged them for it till my birthday. I knew I was going to get it on my birthday. Because they didn't buy it, I didn't get it. I didn't get that figure. I kid you not. I did not get that figure for almost a year. And the reason I got it is because the figure manufacturer realized it was so popular that they were idiots for not making enough. They did a second run, and of course now the figure was valueless because everyone had it because it was the second run figure. So
it would have been valueless anyways, because then a bunch more would have been made, and you still got it a year later. Who gives a flying fuck? How are you talking about this in your mid-30s? Holy shit, Phil. Earning the hate.
Eventually get it, but it was the second run, and of course now it's a year later. Do you really think that something I wanted a year ago is as valuable as, but then I was already starting to move into other stuff. So I give you this advice: if you're a parent and your kid definitely tells you they want something and you see it ahead of time, you fucking buy it. You don't wait, because this is what happens every year with remember they had Tickle Me Elmo? They had all these toys every year. There's the hot toy, and parents don't listen. They don't buy it when they see it. They wait, and then all of a sudden, last minute, everyone goes to buy it, and you don't get it. And now you look like an ass in front of your kid that you could.
No, you don't look like an asshole. You are teaching the lesson that a toy is a toy. That's all it is. It's just a toy. It doesn't matter. The lesson here was that, yeah, they could have bought it, or they couldn't have, and it doesn't matter because it's just a little toy. It doesn't matter at all. In the priorities in life, that's at the bottom, way down here at the bottom. You got something else for your birthday, I'm sure, and you should appreciate that you're getting anything, because a little shitbag like you that talks to their parents like that, I wouldn't give him a lump of coal. You wouldn't get nothing. You don't deserve shit. Man, this guy's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Go just do the simple thing of buy them the thing that was there and available right in front of their face at one point, and it's very disappointing for the kid. So if you could get it ahead of time, get it ahead of time. Okay. Now, let's see.
As a parent, like, this story is hitting different, because I know how this is like such an entitled mentality that you are bossing your parents around to buy you this specific thing. It's mind-blowing. But anyways, this was the origin story. And I do want to cover Phil more often, because I find it's fascinating. A creature of greed like that. Like, when you think about it, this guy has almost all of the 7 deadly sins in one. Like, he's the embodiment of the 7 deadly sins. So he has greed, right? He has lust when he jerked off on the live stream. He has the sloth. He's a complete pig that's always like snorting and burping in the microphone. What's the other one? He has pride for some reason that he shouldn't deserve it. And he has wrath, which is you know, he gets very, very angry. He gets enraged. And then he also has envy. He has envy. He is always looking at someone else and is just completely envious of them and of their success. I've never seen someone, and we're missing one. I don't know which one's the last one. Might have to look it up. I should do a deep dive on this because it just dawned on me that this guy is the embodiment of the 7 sins. Let's see what they are. The 7 deadly sins. I know I'm missing one. So pride, greed, wrath, envy, lust, gluttony. Gluttony. Absolutely. You see him eat like fast food multiple times a week. Yeah, he has all of them. So yeah, this needs further investigation because I've never seen all of these sins embodied in one individual. I will make a follow-up on this, and I think I'm going to do it on my bigger channel, 15 Minutes of Shame, because this is insane. It just dawned on me, and that's like, I didn't plan this out, but it's like, as I'm thinking about it, because I played this video game called Darksiders 3, and you hunt down the 7 deadly sins, and he represents every single one of them. It's mind-blowing. All right, so we'll leave it at that. I will make a follow-up on this because this is too good to be abandoned. This needs to be explored further. All right, so how did you guys like this segment? Let me know if you think I should cover him more or every 2 to 3 streams. Is that too much? Because this guy is like a pit of content. There is just so much to talk about, but I don't want to be known as a full-time detractor, because if you start posting too much DSP content on your channel, you will be only a, you'll be known only as a detractor. And then when you post about some other shit, people won't be interested. It's kind of like what happened to me with Johnny Somali. I posted so much Johnny Somali videos on my 15 Minutes of Shame channel that everything else started to get diluted, and now it kind of fell off. Yeah, Vestige of Peace. If you don't know anything about him, it might be better, to be honest. It might be better. All right. It needs to be explored deeper. That's great. Because like I said, I watched this rabbit hole, the iceberg video. It was 3.5 hours, and I watched it almost in one sitting. It was fascinating. How much there is. Like, there are theories, like there's some theories that are really out there that are like this guy might be wearing a human suit, because this guy was playing a video game and he was like, hey guys, remind me to blink. If I forget blinking, just remind me to blink. How the fuck do you forget how to blink? Like, that's like a natural human, like automatic, thing that you do. So anyways, it's very deep. We'll leave it at that for today.